I haven't made a video in a while, and I'm getting nervous that people think that means that I'm stepping away or that I'm wrong in some way. No, I'm not. I've got a life. I work in an important career. I choose it as a priority to keep food on the table. And anyone who argues with me on this is going to have to take a seat until I've got nothing better to do. So people have complained that I haven't spent enough time explaining where this reverse voltage came from. On the screen, this is the main battery. This is as designed, as planned, after the battery diode was invented. So the battery diode exists, the battery diode module exists in this diagram. And over here is an explosion of the battery after a battery event as investigated by Thales from this document. The mission after the Logan, Massachusetts incident. Alright. Back to here. So everything on the right is about that. So on the left is the as planned. Let's look at the battery. This is the battery here. The cells. There's a positive coming out and then a negative coming out. There's also a positive going to here, which they've incorrectly labeled battery voltage, negative and positive, going out to the battery charger unit to monitor the voltage. So let's just have a look at what they had intended here. The positive output terminal was supposed to go through a Hall effect current sensor and then through a contactor. The negative was meant to come straight out. So they were trying to monitor current on the very contactor that they were going to open and shut. What actually got built? On the left is the negative, on the right is the positive. This positive is here. There's the contactor. That there would connect onto the top of that terminal on cell 8. Let's have a look at that. Cell 8. Something like that. So cell 1 should be the negative, cell 8 should have the positive coming out. So why didn't they put the hex, the Hall effect current sensor, and the contactor on the positive as planned? Well, I've had a good think about it, and it makes some sense. If this shorts to case, the current will go out to the CRN back through the negative to complete the circuit, and the current will rush into this, and therefore it will look like a discharge current, like it was going out the positive. So they just swept it around and looking for current coming in on the negative. But thereby they've lost visibility of current that leaks out of the battery and doesn't return via the negative. So what if there was such a high current short that the negative cable burnt open? Like the ground strap burnt open in the Takamatsu event. Well, then the hex wouldn't see anything and current could freely hammer through the contactor. Why didn't the contactor open and prevent all of this? People keep telling me, oh Jeremy, it's got the main battery relay and all of its clever, in inverted commas, main battery relay and all of its clever logic, and then of course the contactor. The contactor is normally closed. It needs power from the battery to open it. The coil in the contactor is energized under non-normal conditions. So if the battery's fucked, you're fucked as a passenger. If the battery is fucked, you're fucked for getting on board this aircraft. Fuck up number 5, that is. I don't know, how many fuck ups I've gone through in this aircraft design. Next fuck up, the main battery relay. Why didn't it disconnect? Main battery relay disconnect or open and close command. This is a bit complicated, but it's a logic diagram and you need to understand it. The purple lines are showing how the main battery relay could be opened to cancel a close command. All these different things, there could be a 15-second delay. This doesn't have a 15-second delay. Okay, let me just sort of stop moving around for a minute. Okay. Dead bus logic contactor failure will only happen provided that this thing is dead. But this thing is the thing which says, don't disconnect the battery. I need it because I'm airborne and there's no power going to the captain instrument bus from the TRUs. So airborne, air mode up here, and that probably is weight on wheels, I suspect. And then capped an instrument bus sourced from C1 or C1 or C2 TRU, which means it's got power from the ship. It's got power from the ship. If not, it needs battery. So don't disconnect. Don't do this thing. That's why it's got a no is not. So that there is stopping it from opening and disconnecting the battery, provided that any of the following conditions exist. Once the aircraft hits 70 knots on takeoff, count down 1 second, so it probably gets up to 75 knots. Send a one-shot signal for 105 seconds. Why 105? Because if that stops, wait 15 seconds, which equals 120 seconds. 2 minutes. So someone at the boardroom table said, I want it to go for 2 minutes on takeoff, just in case something goes wrong. Okay, boss, take 15 seconds from the countdown and make it 105 seconds one shot. All in all, once the aircraft hits 70 knots, you're fucked because the main battery relay is closed for 105 seconds, provided nothing manages to fucking open it. Nothing did. Nothing manages to open it. You're fucked. The battery's connected, the relay is closed, so whatever fucking goes wrong in the fucking battery, you're exposed to, the contactor can't fucking open, you're fucked. So whatever kind of reverse currents, reverse voltages happen anywhere on the battery system, you're fucked. You're exposed. So now do you understand that? Let's have a look at the battery. What happened? Now, it's another Jeremy drawing. I'm afraid that's what you're getting. Here's an illustration of the battery inside its case and all the different voltages from terminal to case. Terminals are the bars, the bars connecting the cells. At the negative, of course, 0 voltage difference between the bus bar and the case. 4 volts, 12 volts, 16, 20, 24, 28. What did we need to reverse actuate the coils that I told you about the fuel control relays? We need at least 14.5 volts in any direction. So any of this half of the case, it could have been zapped anywhere between there to the case and here. When the Takamatsu event happened, it happened right there. So now in this case, 28 volts or 20 volts or 24 volts or 16, any of these to the case was enough to create the following circuit. Electricity, positive volts, into the battery case, not the stainless steel case, the blue battery case. Follows the case, takes the ground strap out to the current return network, and should take at full current, it should take the negative battery cable back into the battery and then create a internal short circuit and continue. And it can't open because there's no voltage to open the contactor, like I told you. It's stuck shut. Doesn't matter, the voltage here was going out through the case, back to there and into there. That's got nothing to do with it. Doesn't see anything. Once this current goes up so much, it burns through the negative cable. There is no fuse, no relay here. The relay is out here. The relay is out there between the instrument bus and the battery. In the Takamatsu event, this one burnt open. The ground strap burnt open. In this case, it was a slow progression that kept together. The negative melted open, leaving only one path for that positive current to go, back through the current return network and through equipment. That equipment includes the fuel control switches, back through the run coils, sending current the wrong direction through the run coils, up into the instrument buses, the left and the right. There's 2 versions of this. There are 2 fuel coils. There's a 1 and a 2. The 1 does the high pressure shutoff valve. The 2 does the spar valve and sends the cutoff signal to the bus power control unit to tell the EAFR that a fuel switch transition has fucking happened. Everything else is stuck together through the broken relay, which is the very reason for the fuck up in the first place. Sorry, through the broken diode module, which is the very reason for the fuck up in the first place. That was what was hurting the battery. The battery got hurt, battery melted down, battery diode module could not stop current flowing backwards through in, so it continued on and the current flew through the run coil and shut down the engines and told the flight data recorder that a fuel cutoff switch transition had happened. We decided to protect the entire aircraft by one diode. One diode. One diode module. Here it is illustrated in there. Biblical fuck up.